Okay, I'm gonna say this, just so you'll know, and I'm gonna try to remember to say this in all my videos in case you don't already know this. There's some little buttons down there, little dots. If you click on them on your settings channel on your YouTube, this video doesn't have to be so long. If I am a slow Southern talker, then if you click on those little buttons, you can speed me up and
get through this video because I know your time is valuable, okay? So if you want to do that,
pop over there, speed me up. If you hear something that went by too fast, you know, you can slow it down and go back and review. All right, thanks for listening. Okay, so in this video, I am going to try to cover 5 of my top habits that we should develop to maintain a healthy body and a healthy immune system. Okay? Okay, so here we go. One of the first things that I want to remember to do every day is wash hands often. Okay, how many times have we heard that already? So that's good. Not just for this thing, but you know, you've been seeing the memes flying around on Facebook. You know, washing hands has always been a good idea. Yeah, okay, I think we agree with that. Washing. So that's one of the things you do with water. But so the first tip that I want to say is water and how important it is, not just for washing on the outside of the body. Water should be freely used on the outside as well as on the inside. Don't forget in the mornings when you have your shower or in the evenings when you have your shower. This works, I guess, best mostly in the morning, especially if you just want to wake up and feel good. You take this really, really super hot shower and cut the water off on the hot side and leave it on the cold side. It also will rush you out of the shower, but it also wakes you up. It stimulates the surface of your skin has been really super hot where the blood flow has come to the surface, and then the cold closes the pores and forces the blood flow back. So it gets the circulation in your body going. Hot, cold, hot, cold. There's so much research done on the uses of water, hot and cold, hot and cold. If you're in a super hot shower, though, one thing I do want to remind you that I have found in my research that is beneficial is if you are taking a super hot shower and you turn it off cold, be sure to get the cold water on your head first, okay? You don't want to cold. We're still rolling. This is not a good thing for you to have to stand there and do.
no, it's not. Ow!
Ow. How about this?
What?
Just stand there like this, Graham.
Why am I doing this?
Just for a few seconds.
Hire someone else.
I'm almost done. You're going to edit all this out. So, yeah, if you're in the shower, just want to note this. If you're in a super hot shower and your body has been, you know, it's already turning pink from being so hot, if you do turn off on the cold water, be sure to do your cold on your head first. Let your head cool down before the rest of your body. You know, you don't want to have your head still pretty hot from a hot shower and the blood pumping and all of a sudden cold body. And, you know, I just think it's bad because, you know, maybe strokes or things like that might happen. So, and I'm not a doctor. You know, read up on this stuff, do your research, but this is very beneficial. Okay, another thing that I want you to know about water is drinking water, lots of water. As soon as you get up in the morning, even before you get your shower, before you do anything else, get a big glass of water, go ahead and get those 8 ounces in first thing in the morning before you brush your teeth. You have vitamin B12 floating around in your mouth. You're washing all that B12 into your system instead of brushing it away and spitting it out. That's a good idea. Who thunk of that? Well, Dr. Dent's is his name, and he is no longer with us, but that's one of the things I learned from one of his workshops on natural methods of being healthy. And so water is super important. So free use of water inside and out of the body. Let's just don't waste it, okay? Some of us have a hard time getting good water, and so if you have good water, count yourself blessed. Yeah. Okay, so water is super important for being healthy. Lots of water through the day. Drink water before your meals, at least like 15 to 30 minutes before meals, maybe even longer. Drink water. Make sure you get in those 8 ounces throughout the day 8 times, or 6 or 8. Okay, so our bodies are about 60% water. We lose a lot of water every day just by breathing, urination, digestion, sweating. coughing, sneezing, so many reasons why we lose water. So we have to replenish the body on a regular basis. You know, the 8x8 rule is what's kind of easy to remember, like 2 liters of water or a half a gallon of water. You know, get a bottle, maybe a liter of something, and sit it there and fill it up twice a day. Make sure before lunch you have at least 1 liter going in, and maybe after lunch, before you retire at night, you've had another liter go in. It's a pretty easy way to keep up with it. Make sure you drink well before you eat. If you're drinking lots of fluids with your meals, you're diluting the digestive juices in your stomach that digest food. So it's good to hydrate the tissue in your body before you eat, okay? You know, have some sips of water along the way, especially if you eat a lot of raw salads and things. They have plenty of water already. You really don't need to drink a lot with those. If you eat heavily greasy foods or heavy breads or meats and things like that, you feel like you want to have a lot of water. But if you choose to lay off of some of those kinds of heavier, more unhealthy foods, not only are you going to feel better, but you don't need as much water when you're actually eating your meal. So then you should wait a couple hours after eating your meal before you start drinking again. That way your digestive juices are concentrated and they can do the digestion properly. If you're eating fruits and vegetables together, sometimes that acts contrary to some people's systems. A lot of people can't handle that together. So oftentimes I have found that in the evenings, for my evening meal, I do things like fruit smoothies with popcorn or toast or oatmeal or some type of grain with my fruits in the evenings. And oftentimes when you eat things like watermelon and cantaloupe, you know, those have so much water content in them with all the vitamins and minerals that are necessary. You don't really even have to drink much. But be sure to get some water before you go to bed. Anyways, water is super important. It's one of the most important things that you can do for your body. Freely use of water inside and out. So don't forget your water today. And when you're washing your hands, say, hey, I'm going to go have a glass of water. So every time you wash your hands, go get some water. I don't know. Maybe that'll work. So now we're going to talk about nutrition. Nutrition. I taught a class this morning on going out to eat at restaurants, and this was my menu. Let's see what's inside. Oh, there's so much food to choose from, and there's so much that can be said about nutrition. Let me get my cheat sheet over there. There's so much that can be said about nutrition. I, could just talk about it a lot, because if you're like me, I like to eat, and it's difficult not to get too much. It's really difficult to not get enough nutrition unless you're eating poor choices. You can fill up on potato chips and things that are completely white, and you don't get as much nutrition unless you're just eating cauliflower. And I don't know that I've ever overeaten on cauliflower. But okay, yeah. Nutrition should be as wholesome as you possibly can. One of the things I'm going to say is that I have found that optimum nutrition in the research that I have done usually comes from plant-based things. This has become pretty popular lately. If you think about it this way, some of the largest, strongest, most muscular, healthiest creatures on this planet, gorilla, bison, horses, things of that nature, oxen, hippopotamus, mostly live on plants. Plants. They get their protein from plants. If you eat animal products, your body has to use its energy to break down the meat tissue back into the micronutrients that came from the plant that the animal ate. It just makes sense. It does taste good. Don't get me wrong. I was not a vegetarian for many, many, many years. Almost half of my life, I ate meat almost half of my life. And when I was about 25 or 26, I chose to not eat meat. I have recently, in the last few years, partaken in fish. I do eat fish on occasions. But it just makes sense. If you get your nutrients, especially your protein sources, from plants, that is what builds the best tissue. in the research that I've seen. There's a video that I'd like for you to watch on Netflix called The Game Changer. It is very informative, and I think it's a great resource, and it's something to refer to. If you can't do it all at one time, they do have meat analogs that are available. I don't recommend them because they're so full of toxins and preservatives and things like that. But sometimes if you feel like you just can't get through the day without that meat source there, you know, that's something that's already prepared that you could buy. You can do things like soy and wheat gluten. You can make your own there. Maybe I'll come up with a recipe and you might see a video of some recipes that I have that are pretty easy vegan recipes if you're interested in those. So tons of things to think about nutrition. Mostly if you can get more organic sources, get to know a farmer, go to your local farmer's market, get to know a farmer that grows things locally in your area, go visit the farm, ask questions, ask about what his methods are of putting nutrition into the soil so that the plants and things that he actually grows has good things to do. You know, oftentimes we buy fruits and vegetables from the grocery store and the soil is depleted. Oftentimes farmers don't add back into the soil things that the foods need so that they can become, they look red. Got this nice red tomato, but what's in it? The only things that can be in a nice red tomato are the things that it can get out of the soil. So if your farmers are putting back into the soil those things that crops need to grow, anyways, we can get bogged down in lots of details. Just food for thought, okay? Where do we get it? The best place to get nutrition is going to be from a local farmer if you cannot get it from your own backyard. Most people have an opportunity to have some type of nutrition growing around them all the time. It is not that difficult, and it doesn't take up that much space. Unless you're going to feed half the country like some of our farmers do, then you need to take up that much space. You can have a small garden, which I can pop in a little video here and show you my little garden that I've got going on. You can plant in boxes to grow your own nutrition. But if you are going to get good nutrition, first of all, you need to have organic nutrition, okay? Organics is very important because you wear your body out when you're putting in pesticides and so many things that are of poor value with no nutrition involved. Your body is just processing them, and your kidneys and your liver are trying to get rid of all the toxins. And you have so much energy, just to be honest with you. You can produce more energy if you exercise hard and eat right, and you get a renewed sense of energy when you wake up in the mornings. But truth be it, you know, throughout the day, you're like done in the evenings because your body is being used up for so many different avenues. Enough said about that. Nutrition should be as wholesome as you possibly can. One of the things I'm going to say is that I have found that optimum nutrition in the research that I have done usually comes from plant-based things. This has become pretty popular lately. You know, if you think about it this way, some of the largest, strongest, most muscular, healthiest creatures on this planet, gorilla, bison, horses, you know, things of that nature, oxen, hippopotamus, mostly live on plants. Plants. They get their protein from plants. If you eat animal products, your body has to use its energy to break down the meat tissue back into the micronutrients that came from the plant that the animal ate. It just makes sense. It does taste good. Don't get me wrong. I was not a vegetarian for many, many, many years. Almost half of my life, I ate meat. Almost half of my life. Okay, 54 this year. Whoop, whoop. And when I was about 25 or 26, I chose to not eat meat. I have recently, in the last few years, partaken in fish. I do eat fish on occasions. But it just makes sense. If you get your nutrients, especially your protein sources, from plants, that is what builds the best tissue in the research that I've seen. There's a video that I'd like for you to watch on Netflix called The Game Changer. It is very informative, and I think it's a great resource, and it's something to refer to. If you can't do it all at one time, they do have meat analogs that are available. I don't recommend them because they're so full of toxins and preservatives and things like that. But sometimes if you feel like you just can't get through the day without that meat source there, that's something that's already prepared that you could buy. You can do things like soy and wheat gluten. You can make your own there. Maybe I'll come up with a recipe and you might see a video of some recipes that I have that are pretty easy vegan recipes if you're interested in those. So tons of things to think about nutrition. Mostly if you can get more organic sources, get to know a farmer, go to your local farmer's market, get to know a farmer that grows things locally in your area, go visit the farm, ask questions, ask about what his methods are of putting nutrition into the soil so that the plants and things that he actually grows has good things to the, oftentimes we buy fruits and vegetables from the grocery store and the soil is depleted. Oftentimes farmers don't add back into the soil things that the foods need so that they can become, they look red. Got this nice red tomato, but what's in it? The only things that can be in a nice red tomato are the things that it can get out of the soil. So if your farmers are putting back into the soil those things that crops need to grow, anyways, we can get bogged down in lots of details. Just food for thought, okay? Nutrition is one of the biggest things. First we talked about water, and now we're talking about nutrition. Those are my two top things for staying and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And so when is the best time to take in your nutrition? Some people just are in such a rush in the mornings, they skip the morning breakfast altogether. Now, if you have a job that's extremely laborious, it's a good idea to get in nutrition in the morning. Maybe go out early and work and then come back in and have your first meal, which would be your break fast through the night and through the morning hours if you don't want to eat super early. But if you can get away with it, 2 meals are actually best for the human body. Not the young ones, little ones that are just weaning and little ones that are growing, and young children need to eat more often smaller meals than adults do. Often adults that are fully grown, we're not growing anymore except for out when we eat too much. Okay, toes are getting stepped on, and mine in particular, but just saying, if you have a sedentary job, you don't necessarily need 3 meals a day. Your body would probably do best if you ate 2 meals. Maybe say around 10, maybe again at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and then nothing else again before bedtime. If you need some fruit juice or maybe a smoothie or something, that would be okay. But try it. See if you feel better. Your body will just feel lighter. You don't feel so heavy when digestion is going on all the time, especially heavy proteins. It is just taxing on the system. So what is the saying? Breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. So your heaviest meals are going to be earlier in the day. You've got your whole day to spend your energy and your nutrition. So it only makes sense to get in most of that nutrition in your early hours of the day. At lunchtime, have a light lunch, have soup, sandwich, salad, something like that. And then in the evening, before you retire, if you're doing your 3 meals, do something light like fruit. Fruit takes such a short time to digest, and maybe a toast or a grain or something to go along with your fruit. Those are easy to digest, and those could be gone through your system so that while you are resting at night, which would lead us into number 3. I only said 4. Number 3 is going to be rest. When you rest at night, you should also let your digestion rest as well. Some people have a hard time breaking habits, and I'm one of those. And so at nighttime when you rest, try to make sure you have eaten early enough in the day that nutrition has been absorbed and your body and your stomach and your bowels can all be resting. They are not working. How can you get a good rest when the inside of your body is still working and churning, especially those heavy proteins in the evenings are difficult to digest. So if you want a good rest, get your habits changed around. I know, it seems like we do things backwards. And oftentimes human beings do things backwards. But you will find that you feel so much better and so well rested in the mornings if you are not digesting your food through the night while you rest. Okay? Let the whole body rest. Let the mind shut off and all the tissues as well. Get that rest at night. Okay, rest is so important. You know, some of us work 7 days a week. Not this old girl. You know, there are some things that I do on that 7th day that I don't do the other days of the week that might use up energy, but when they're done with a mindset of relaxing and resting and letting your body renew itself on that 7th day, then that's a rest. You know, it's a change of thought pattern. It's a attitude of gratitude mostly. I mean, you should have that attitude all week long, every day, even when you're at work. But yeah, you know, some of us work a lot. Give yourself that break. You deserve it. Your body deserves it. Your mind deserves it. You have to have that rest. Not only your daily rest you get at the nighttime, but give yourself at least one day every week. Take the entire 24 hours and do not do work that is demanding and stressful, that you're making money, and you're thinking about all these stresses of the world. Put the world aside. Rest your mind. Do something fun and adventurous with the kids. Let that be your family day. Think about things that are renewing and refreshing, and be positive. That leads us into number 4, attitude. Okay, attitude. Those things are especially things that you could be thinking about during that day of your rest. Think about those all day long, but when you get exercise, you know, who loves to get on the treadmill every day? I love it. I can't wait to get on my bike and just pedal all day long, looking at the 4 walls. Some people do love it, and it can become habitual in your life, and kudos to you, but I am not one of those. I do love, however, being active. I love swimming, and when I'm outside active, or when I'm doing something for someone else, you know, when I'm getting my exercise doing something for someone else, to me that is fulfilling and it is refreshing, and I just get rejuvenated from that. You know, get your exercise producing something. For those of you who like to have a fire in your fireplace in the wintertime, spend the summer getting your firewood ready. That's exercise, and it's also enjoyable. It's very satisfying. Working in your garden is satisfying. That's good exercise. And fresh sunshine, no. That's satisfying, the fresh outdoors and the sunshine. Okay, sunshine, there we go, number 5. Number 5, sunshine. How important is sunshine? During this time of this virus, this whole thing that's been going on, I've heard a commentator on the news last night even say on one of our major networks, "Oh no, the weather's warming up. We're afraid the people are going to go outside." Well, okay, I get it. They're afraid that people are going to congregate in groups of more than 10 and be within 6 feet of each other because the sunshine is so inviting. It's springtime. Doesn't this just make your soul feel alive and fresh and new? And you do want to get outside. And they were fearful, rightly so, because people do want to go outside in the sunshine. Sunshine is excellent for killing viruses. I wanted somebody to say that, and guess what? They interviewed Dr. Phil, good old Dr. Phil, and he said that very thing. He said, sunshine is good. It's purifying. It is cleansing. It takes away toxins out of the air. I was reading a book recently that said if you open your windows, let the fresh air and the sunshine come in, even in the wintertime, maybe don't open your windows so much, but open up your blinds. Let sunshine come in. This particular book that I was reading, and those of you who would like to know what it is, leave me some comments below and I'll share with you. This particular book even said, don't plant your trees, don't plan your home so that the sunshine can't come in the windows. Put lots of windows in your home. Let the sunshine flood into every corner of your room. Maybe even don't put so many tall trees around your windows so that it blocks. Shade is lovely for the time that you're resting, but when you're out exercising and you're working in your garden, you need the sunshine. You need it on your skin for the vitamin D. You need the sunshine to fill your heart and your soul. It does things in the brain. You know, sunshine gives you these endorphins that just create a happy state of being. And then you can do more for other people. You know, you can give generously in your life. Sunshine, you know, if you do love to bike, get the ones with the 2 wheels on it that goes outside and bike outside in the fresh air of the sunshine. This does wonders for your soul. This keeps you healthy. Just a little tidbit about myself is I'm a mom of 5 boys. 5 boys. My oldest one's 27 now, and my youngest one will be 13 this year. And I did homeschool my boys, and I did raise them on a vegetarian diet. And my boys did get sick sometimes. And I had someone ask me once, you know, if you guys are so healthy and you're vegetarian and you're outside, why do your kids get sick? Well, there are pathogens out there. There are viruses and bacteria that have never entered the body. And so the body has not developed antibodies for those things. Well, when it does come into your body and your body is developing these antibodies and the white blood cells are just multiplying to conquer them and attack them and destroy them, the temperature in the body rises too. Oftentimes, bacteria and viruses cannot live in hot temperatures. So the body is fearfully and wonderfully made, I do believe. It is a magnificent, awe-inspiring machine, if you will, in its art form. And there's so many variables that determine whether we have good health or whether we do not. We can do our very best to cooperate with nature so that our immune system is strengthened. And when viruses and bacteria and pathogens enter the body, mostly through the face and our dirty fingers, in our nose, in our eyes, in our mouths, and all kinds of places, that's usually where it enters, unless you have a cut in your skin, and then you may get things there. But when those things do come in, and your T cells go crazy, and the antibodies start multiplying, all these, the white blood cells start multiplying to attack these viruses and these pathogens in the system, the temperature goes up, and oftentimes they can't live in that either. It is my advice as a mom, you talk to your doctor before you take anything that I have said, because this is just my experience and I'm sharing it with you. My children, when they got a bug, it didn't last more than 7 or 10 days. Most of the time it was way sooner than that they were feeling better and outside and doing their things. And oftentimes even when they were sick, if they were running a fever, bundle them up, keep the body warm, keep the head cool. I didn't fight fevers like a lot of people are taught to fight fevers. Fevers do a wonder for the body. You just don't want them to spike quickly. That's kind of dangerous, and you don't want them to get too hot in the head to cause brain damage. I would bundle up my boys, make sure they had plenty of fluids, and we would work through the common cold, work through it. I didn't put my kids on antibiotics ever. Ever. 5 sons, no antibiotics, ever. Their bodies did it. We did things, we studied, we looked at how the human body works, and we cooperated with healing. We cooperated. Was I worried sometimes? Yes. Did I sit many, many hours holding my child who had a fever, who felt bad? Yes. Did it break my heart? Yes, it did. But my children's bodies responded, and they developed antibodies, and it was over. It was over. And I am so blessed, and I'm so grateful. So
I just wanted to pop in
there
here
are
and
things
say
to
when
do,
emergencies
and there are
did
things
rise,
to
and
do.
they did come with 5 boys,
sugar
we
really-
would go see a doctor
it's a downer for the
and
immune
let him
system.
treat things that couldn't be treated at
anytime you
home.
feel a cough or a cold coming on, cut the sugar out. Even the fruit sugars, okay? Even the fruit sugars, cut the sugar out. Stay hydrated with water. Put some lemon in it maybe. That's always good. Garlic. There's all kinds of things. So hang in there with me. I know that was probably a lot to swallow there at the end on my kids and what we did growing up. And the sunshine had so much to do with it. Bundle them up, take them out in the sunshine, sit with them, hold with them, read lots of stories, encouraging, positive stories, do all those things. But if you hang on, I have another video that I'm going to be posted pretty soon on some of the things that you can do naturally to boost your immune system. And this is not something you should do just now because we have this virus crisis going on. This is something you should develop habits of and a routine of doing this in your life, because this is not the only virus out there. Who knew? There's going to be more of this, more, and it's coming. and I want you to be healthy and be prepared and not so fearful. This body that we have is just incredible. It's incredible. Listen to your doctor's recommendations. Listen to the government's recommendations for this pandemic that we're in right now. Social distancing is a good idea. We shouldn't congregate in these huge crowds. If you're going to go outside, give yourself some distance. Don't be coughing and snorting and snotting all over your neighbor in a cubicle somewhere. If you can stay at home and work, stay at home and work. It is a good idea. Okay? All right. Thanks, you guys, for hanging in there with me. And we'll see you on the flip side. Goodbye. Goodbye, said Jody from South Carolina.
This is a big guy.
Oh my. Look who's almost a teenager.
You're getting big.
Graham and
Oh,
the bird.
me? Oh. That took a while to remember.